Hi everyone, Ashley Mailloux, Scott Shapiro here, taking a look at one of the graded stakes races this Saturday at Churchill Downs, September 27th. We're going to look at the grade 3 Ack Ack, which is race number 8 on the program. It's going to kick off the late pick 4 sequence, Scott. And as we take a look at this field, it's a field of 8. I think it's a pretty interesting group. Some horses that maybe are trying to get back into form and others that are trying to maybe rebound off of disappointing efforts. It obviously will include the one Most Wanted, who was 5th in the Forego. This is some class relief for him, but others have win streaks intact as well.
Yeah, We'll Take It is the one that I think is most intriguing, drawn right to the outside of Most Wanted. We'll get to him. But yeah, you speak maybe of like Tumbarumba, Three Technique, Houday, all of them come in, not in the best form that they've been in their career.
We'll take a look at the time form US pace projection. Obviously, Churchill, that signature one-turn mile, and Most Wanted, he's been forward in his races. He certainly was forward last time out, Scott, in the Forego, where they went very quick, 44-4 to the half, and have to think he's going to be a little bit more fit. But I still think there are others in here that are going to try to chase and press the situation.
That could be. I think the inside draw and the fact that he needs to break, if he breaks better last time, because not only was he on the lead along the inside battling in those fast fractions, but he broke poorly. And he was he was rushed up by Florent Giroux. So very excusable effort in here. And I think if he breaks well, he's probably the one to catch. But this is Usker sitting right there makes some sense.
And this projector suggests that Houday on the outside will need the pace to develop in front of him, as he has the late pace flag attached to his chiclet. We'll kick it off here with the number 1, Most Wanted. We talked about the Forego last time out. He was part of the pace. He backed right out of it. Obviously, I think this is probably a better spot for him to try to regroup, but can understand why they took a shot with him last time out, a horse that's been in very good form.
Without question. And they kind of have managed them. They took shots with the Ali Sheba grade 2, but kind of a grade 1 group on the Oaks undercard and the Forego. But when he's been managed, taking on lesser competition, he's been right there at the wire, some really good horses, or he's won the race. He's 5 of 9. He likes this oval. The inside draw at Churchill in these one-turn mile configurations is not ideal, but if you break well, it kind of takes away the issues.
I'm curious to get your thoughts on the 2 Will Take It. We talked about his win streak intact. He's actually yet to finish worse than second this year in 6 career outings this season. 4 of them have been wins, but he's been on the sidelines for a little bit now. They're regrouping here. We haven't seen him since June 29th. Do you take that as a pro or a con?
I guess I take it as a somewhat of a pro, only in the sense that I just think he's been a better horse at these one-turn mile races. I know he's got a big number over the slop as well, but take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. But these last 2 races at the one-turn mile, he was loaded in these races. It's not as if he ran to his odds. He didn't win by a lot, but he didn't get perfect trips or anything, and he beat good horses, including Banishing in the Hanshin. So my concern with him is not fitness necessarily, but he's not going to have Brian Hernandez Jr. aboard. We wish Brian luck, but he won't be riding due to injury. And is he going to get enough pace, or is Most Wanted going to kind of get a much more favorable setup?
The 3 Surely Furious decided to scratch out of the Presque Isle Mile, a race that he had won in the past, goes for this spot. Personally, I think I would have preferred to see him in that race given his synthetic form, but maybe this was plan B, Scott, and they opt for this. His most recent dirt start, though, was a win at Canterbury.
He does have that on his resume, but outside of that, I was at Turfway in 2024 in the winter. This horse was in fantastic form those races. I mean, he wanted the Dust Commander by 8 lengths. You don't see a lot of races won in that kind of distance over the all-weather, but I agree with you. It's kind of an odd spot. I don't know if something went wrong before it and now they need to give him races, but I generally think all-weather is what this horse wants to do.
The 4, this is Uskar. He's entered in another spot the day after the Ack Ack on Sunday, but we'll take a look at one of his more recent performances and kind of looking at his progression. I know he's not necessarily winning, hasn't won since Keeneland, but so we go back to Horseshoe Indianapolis. He ends up being a good second here. I think it's one of those situations, though, he's just second best.
Yeah, the thing with this is Usker, and I looked at that Sunday allowance spot he's cross-entered for is not that soft, so I don't know what he's going to decide. Got some pretty good runners in here. I think this is a horse that is better over and off track, but he's in good form. I just wonder if we're going to get the same kind of speed it might look on paper from him, because those are not one-turn races. They're either 1.5 at Ellis or true 2-turn races. So it might look like he wants the lead, but I don't know if he's fast enough to go with Most Wanted if Irad wants it.
And you mentioned Ellis Park, the 5 Tumbarumba. He was the winner of the race at Ellis Park, and he went off favored in there. I thought he got a good trip too, where he was able to sit and make one run. Where I feel like in some of his other races, when he's been, pressured to chase, he just doesn't have anything left in the tank. So it was nice to see him find the winner's circle for the first time in quite some time. But I have reservations about the repeat being that easy for him here.
I agree. I don't have a lot of favorite horses, but this Louisiana bred was one of my favorite horses in training early part of his career. He just tries so hard and it resulted in some wins or some tough defeats. But I know he got a good number in that Ellis race. I'm a little bit leery on how it stacks up against these. I just think he's a horse that we've seen the best of, as much as I hate to admit it.
The 6 indispensable, last seen in the Pacific Classic, where he split that field, finishing mid-pack behind the likes of Fierceness, Journalism. Huge step up last time out. And he ran, not horribly, but how do you assess him against those, right? This is class relief for him. I will say, personally, when I saw him in the Oklahoma Derby, I thought he ran well. I think the top 3 really ran their races. I just think Most Wanted benefited from the fact that he had horses engage him and he fought back on. And Indispensable tried to hang in there, just couldn't do it.
It's an interesting entry. John Sadler's only had one starter at Churchill since 2022, and just not that many in general. It looks like this horse likes the 1 mile at Del Mar, which is the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile this year, right? So that race was really good, 2 back. I mean, he was taking a hand out of the gate, but was 4 wide most of the way. And that runner up has run back to back 96 plus buyers that he beat that day. So I don't know what to make of it. It's an interesting entry, but you get Luis Saez, and I don't think he's a crazy option.
The 7-3 technique. It's a little interesting. He was only 5-1 in his most recent win, which was last year's Ack Ack, and he was able to do it. And since then, he hasn't been in the top 3, which I think is concerning. He's going to need pace help. And I know we haven't jumped to him yet, but I think if you're looking for a closer, I think based on recent form, Houdet is a little bit more intriguing.
Yeah, 3 Technique has been a really cool horse. He was really good in 2019 as a 2-year-old for Jeremiah Englehart. And then it appeared that he had gone the wrong way. And, who knows if he was going to come back. A lot of those 2-year-olds don't. And then he got good again for the same barn, Jason Cook. They claimed him. He was good in 2022 and 2023. But I think he's up against it from a race shape perspective. He's 8 years old. He would have to reinvent himself kind of a third time. He's tough to get to.
Just to mention, this will be his 4th Ack Ack, which is really cool to note. You mentioned he's one of those hard-trying, older race horses. The 8 Houdet, we'll take a look at his most recent performance. Now, I know it's at Belterra Park, but it was a regroup. Hadn't seen this one since Mahoning Valley, where he had to go 1.25 miles. He was able to win. He's a handy horse. He pretty much does anything that's asked of him. His resume reflects that, and I know this is going to be one of his lower buyer speed figures, but I think the way that he wins this, he didn't have a ton of pace help. He just was much the best, the classiest horse on paper, and is able to prevail.
Yeah, he's taking advantage of a lot of races at Belterra. What I found interesting, and maybe as a negative, is he's an Ohio bred, and there's a lot of Ohio bred stakes. I don't know the exact place where he would fit, and you can make the argument that he's best at this 1-turn mile as well, because when he was at 3 and late in his 2-year-old season, that's where he was at his best. He actually ran 4th with not a great trip in the Pat Day Mile. So if he's ready to run, he fits well. And as we saw in the late pace, he should be finishing. I'm just not sure. He's only raced once since October of last year when he had some Ohio bred options.
We will take a look at our top picks here for the Ack Ack. Don't forget, it does kick off the late pick 4 on Saturday from Churchill. And not going to get creative here at all in our top 3. 1, 2, 5 for both Scott and I. And Scott, Most Wanted, you can say he disappointed in the forego, and that's fine, but they went very quick. He's just making a second start off the freshening, and this is class relief.
Yeah, he's going to be out of his own barn, too. That was just not his day between the competition and the break and the pace. I think he's the clear one to beat here, but if he gets a little more competition on the front end, I wouldn't be surprised if We'll Take It is ready to roll off a little bit of a freshening.
All right, we both go 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 5, 4 for me, 1, 2, 5, 6 for Scott. Race 8 this Saturday at Churchill. Good luck.